Now let's head to the global space. Will Ibong is standing by at the Lagos studio. Will, over to you.
Hi, Ini. Thank you so much. We see you're having fun there, but let's just jump right into it. A new report by the Resolution of Foundation says Britain faces a bleak outlook for living standards, with typical disposable income set to rise by just 1% or £300 between 2025 and 2030. Lower income households could see a 1% drop in income, while pensioners may gain up to 5%. Families with children are projected to see no growth. The report highlights rising mortgage costs as a major factor, with homeowners on fixed deals facing income declines, while outright owners are set to gain slightly. Now, still staying in the UK, the pound sterling climbed to $1.37, its strongest level since January 2022, after reports that US President Donald Trump may announce a replacement for Fed Chair Jerome Powell sooner than expected. To shed more light on that and more, our London correspondent Juliana Olainka joins us. Juliana, the pound has rallied to a 3-year high now. Does the pound rally reflect confidence in Britain's fundamentals, or are we simply riding this global uncertainty?
Really, it's a mix of improved domestic sentiment and international relief. We've just had the Prime Minister speaking live at the British Chamber of Commerce's global annual conference, and is really pledging to maintain economic stability, to support small businesses and position Britain as a global champion for free trade. And I think this has been quite rightly reflected in the market, and the fact that sterling has improved significantly over the past couple of days. In fact, it's climbed to, I think, just above $1.37, which is the highest it's been in over 3 years. Of course, I think it's worth pointing out that the ceasefire, the fragile ceasefire holding in the Middle East, has had a major ripple effect. Of course, that's weakened the US dollar and fueled risk appetite. So yeah, really good news, and let's hope that this external uncertainty will help shift and push the pound even further.
Okay, well, we rejoice in that. How markets, want to know which sectors are rejoicing here, how markets responding to this stronger pound that we're seeing?
Yeah, I think the response is pretty mixed. Still telling, it's still quite early, of course, here in the UK, but government bonds, bond yields, they're rising. 10-year gilts are now at 4.6%. This reflects tighter financial conditions. FTSE 100 holding steady too, still seeing gains in financial stocks. Oil, that had dipped earlier in the week, is slightly gaining. Lots of questions now, Will, about interest rates. We know that the Bank of England Monetary Policy Committee held them at 4.25% when they met last week at Threadneedle, but there are expectations that a rate cut could come before August.
Okay, but looking at this, the stronger pound now, how do you think it's going to impact, maybe, say, disposable income of Britons in the UK? Seeing that report that disposable income, their outlook for living standards is going to drop very soon.
I think consumer confidence in the UK is quite strong at the moment. We know we had Rachel Reeves' spending review. There is a debate currently ongoing in the Palace of Westminster at the moment about welfare reforms. I think that's the main sticking point for the Prime Minister in terms of domestic headache. Things do seem to be turning a corner, but we don't want to leave behind the poor and vulnerable. So let's see how MPs vote today when it comes to whether or not these welfare reforms will be peeled back.
Okay, so looking at other spaces, oil and gas sector there, Juliana, we see Shell officially denying any takeover talks with British Petroleum, that's BP, and is now facing a 6-month bid blackout under UK rules. How serious is this regulatory freeze in terms of limiting consolidation in the oil sector?
Well, it's pretty serious, but it's not a permanent procedural block. It's very technical. It kind of falls under some rules of the UK Takeover Code, and Shell has basically denied what had been growing media reports of this takeover. So basically there'd be this oil and gas behemoth, but this denial on the record legally bars Shell from making any bid for BP for the next 6 months. unless BP invites the offer itself or another bidder emerges or there's a material change. I think analysts are still really expecting the oil sector consolidation to pick up through other joint sectors, ventures, asset swaps or regional alliances. But it seems like this Shell-BP proposed merger is definitely off the cards for now.
Thank you so much, Juliana. We'll keep track of that, see what happens the next 6 months. If there's any change, we'll definitely keep our audience updated. Thank you so much, Juliana, for your perspective.
Thanks, Will.